All right, my name is Sergio Salvador. I work for Google, and I actually lead a team that focuses on gaming partnerships across the whole of the world. So what it means is we act almost as consultants for Google products with games partners, and those Google products perform a variety of uses and actions and activities for our partners. So our partners can focus on what they do best, which is making great games, and we provide the consultancy. And we're also the experts on monetization. So anyone in the games industry wanting to make more money, which generally is everyone, we are pretty happy to help them get there.
And you've spoken at MGF today about monetization in Asia and its challenges being such a fragmented market. Can you give us some practical insights and strategies that you could offer up?
Absolutely. So some of the points that I covered had to do with both the huge challenges, but also the opportunities that are encountered in Asia. Asia is essentially the largest games region in the world, and that certainly applies to mobile games, and it is growing faster than the other regions. At the same time, Asia is a very large place with a lot of different countries that tend to be very different cultures, and some of those cultures can be fairly inward and insular. So I talk about those things, and I encourage attendees at the event today, at the conference today, to consider Asia in their expansion plans, but also to be ready to tackle the challenges that Asia is going to throw at them so that they can reap the rewards. In terms of tips that I share today, there's a few things, but I want to emphasize one of them, which is partnerships and relationships. Relationships are important in every business, certainly in games, but when you get to Asia, relationships become critical to ensure that you have a much smoother time making your way into different countries. So one of the tips and strong advice that I shared was figure out where you want to go in Asia. You don't need to go everywhere, but figure out the countries and find strong partners that know the country, that can act as a bridge between your great content and the local culture, so that at least at the very beginning you have greater chances of succeeding in those countries when you go there. Failure can be great for learning, but very expensive.
And then MGF is known as the premium mobile games event. What makes MGF stand out compared to other mobile games events that you attend?
It's a very good question. So I actually was pleasantly surprised by two different things. The first one is the seniority of the attendees to MGF, and that's rather important for me because in terms of relationships and partnerships with companies, the ways I help partners, it's important to have a strong relationship with the senior leadership, so that there is clear commitment on both sides to walk together that path, which sometimes at times can be quite challenging. The second thing I was quite positively surprised about was the number of attendees. I found it just right, and I just explained that. I have been to massive conferences, and it's quite difficult to figure out the attendees, to figure out who you want to talk to, and even to find the time to talk to those people. And at the same time, I have been to very small conferences that provide less value in terms of presence and in terms of connections and partnerships coming out of them. What I found in the last couple of days here at MGF is that I had a very clear understanding of who was here, who wanted to talk to me, who I wanted to talk to, and it was very easily organized so that we could have those conversations, and those conversations have been happening.
So what are the main benefits you get out of being here?
It's a very good question. On the one hand, I can get much closer to take kind of the pulse of the industry, right? Both in Europe, but also understanding where that pulse might be going in terms of other regions of the world, given that I have a bit of a global outlook. And at the same time, start understanding kind of the type of help and partnerships that people in this region of the world are going to be needing. Rest assured that I'm already looking forward to MGF in Hong Kong in about 3 months, and that's much closer to me, and certainly in Seattle a little bit later.
And Google are knowledge sponsor of MGF London. Why have you decided to do this?
Well, I think I found that type of a sponsorship a good reflection of the way we work. We pride ourselves in trying to be the best possible partner to our partners, and one of those things means being always completely honest about the advice and the information that we share with them, but most importantly about sharing as much information as we can. For two reasons. First of all, it's a much easier conversation when we are all on the same page in terms of level of knowledge, level of information. But secondly, it also enables my partners kind of to make more informed decisions. At the same time, if my partners decide that I can offer what they want, they also know who to go to, even if it's my competitors. And at the end of the day, that means that I'm also doing my job of helping them grow their business.
If there was another sponsor looking potentially to get involved in an event like this,
Right.
what would you say to them?
I would tell them that MGF has become a truly sort of global conference, and that the type of attendees, so it's going to be worth their time, right? Being involved with the conference for the right reasons, brand recognitions, brand relationship, but also the type of contacts that are going to come out of and at the right level, that are going to come out of that relationship with MGF.
And what would be your key takeaway from MGF London this year?
I would reflect on the health of the industry in the UK and Europe. I believe that it is very healthy. There's clearly people who want to do things. I think it has to become a little bit more dynamic, and they need to accelerate things. And I say this because being based out of Asia where I am, I see things moving very, very, very fast. So if they want to compete effectively in the future at a global level, which they should, because at the end of the day, mobile games is a global business by definition, they're going to have to accelerate the pace of their innovation, of their creativeness. They're going to have to accelerate the pace of the expansion to other countries. And that's only going to be good for everyone.
Do you see that as the biggest challenge for the industry in the next 12 to 18 months?
I think competition is a blessing and a curse, right? It gets you moving faster, but at the same time, it can make things very difficult for you. Right? Ultimately, those who are most creative, most innovative, are going to be ahead of the pack, and that can only be good because that produces greater quality in the games, and that benefits as well everyone, the industry, the users, and everyone involved with the industry.